Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are having a fantastic day. So today's upload is a video about an active pattern, I guess the long range outlook, what's to come in the future and what to expect. So we were expecting a few drastic changes that's compared to what's been happening. So if you would like to stay and listen this out, that would be amazing. If you'd like to subscribe and like the video, if you're new, you could subscribe. If you're old fan, I appreciate it, and you could like the video, that would be amazing. Let's get into the video. So right now we're looking at the GFS model global forecasting system, and this model run just came in maybe an hour ago fully. And let's quickly make it load. All right, and as you saw when I loaded that quickly, a lot of green. And all right, so there wasn't that much green in the past week and a half. Okay, so really the pattern has started to get really active, and it seems like things are starting to rev up pretty quickly. So notice that if you were to look at, say, parts of the eastern United States, there's a lot of precipitation, right? There's that storm from yesterday that is still kind of hanging across parts of southern Canada and eastern North America and eastern United States. And that kind of moves off, but we see this resurgence of precipitation from another system, which is now actually causing some thunderstorms across Iowa, Nebraska, Kansas, and into Minnesota. This kind of moves off further, and you can see there's the culprit kind of getting kind of comes out of its hiding. You can see right there, 1001 and low pressure. So at the beginning it's not formed, then it does form, and you can see it still delivers quite a bit of rain across the east coast. Now behind this low pressure there will be quite a bit of chilly air, some cooler temperatures. If you were to look at the temperature anomalies, it's blue across these locations, so that indicates some chillier temperatures, mainly 70s and 80s. Some 60s as well. You can see further up north, upper 60s, but it's gonna be a nice cool off. But across the east coast, it's still gonna be really warm, and across the south. Now this cool air sticks around for a little bit, right? But notice that by the time that it pushes away, there's another storm on the horizon. You can see right there, there's a big thunderstorm cluster. There's a low pressure as well. So this is now late Thursday, early Friday across parts of the upper plains, and this affects the northwest as well. You could see parts of Montana, Idaho, and Washington also getting impacted by that. It really develops so once it gets in the plains, and this thing kind of I guess erupts with a lot of moisture from Nebraska, Iowa, Illinois, Wisconsin, Michigan, and you can see that the storm system is way up here, but it's still producing severe weather all the way down into maybe 800 to 500 miles away from the source. And as soon as you think it's gone, you can see right there it reappears right there and produces some severe thunderstorms across the northeast. So very active, lots of things to track. And while this one is kind of raging on across the Midwest, notice that this little beast comes out from basically nowhere across British Columbia, and it moves into Manitoba, Alberta, really starts kind of organizing itself, and it really becomes also a pretty big beast for the summertime. You can see right there it curls itself up. Notice that behind that system of this storm, there's still enough precipitation where it kind of gets ringed out, and more precipitation starts falling across Illinois, Indiana, and Wisconsin. So that is definitely, again, going to continue to lead to some heavy rain, flooding possibly. This doesn't look too severe, but you get the pattern. You get the trend. It's just storm after storm, and you can see there's another wave right there across the upper Midwest, possibly some showers, thunderstorms, while there still is some severe weather across the Virginias, into the south and or northeast. And as soon as the break looks if it's coming, you can see another storm comes through, kind of some scattered showers, scattered thunderstorms, and we see that front finally pushing off. That kind of gives us a few days of break, but you can see another cluster across upper Michigan and upper Wisconsin with severe thunderstorms, and it just keeps going on and on. So very active pattern. If you were to look at the precipitation totals, they are pretty high, above average for sure. I wouldn't say the risk of flooding is awfully high in terms of the widespread aspect of it. It looks to be pretty, it looks high in the case that if you get two thunderstorms on top of each other, that will cause some flooding. But if the chances are that you most likely won't get get any flooding. You'll just get quite a bit of rain, and the ground will be saturated. But I wouldn't say you should really worry about the flooding. I would be more worried about the severity of the storm. Like if you're caught outside, if you get, maybe your car gets damaged by falling tree, or your house gets damaged. That's something more I'd be concerned about. The rain really, yeah, if it rains, if it rains enough, definitely is a problem. I'm not saying it isn't, but there's been worse scenarios in the past. It's been very dry across the eastern United States. That's why I guess such a wet pattern isn't really that bad. It's kind of a good thing. There's been pretty dry. No drought, really. Few areas that have drought across the upper plains and into parts of the southern U.S., okay, but mainly the areas that are really dry is the west, and it doesn't seem like much rain will be coming there, so that's definitely bad. But you can see a lot of in some areas getting 6 inches plus, so that is in the in like the isolated thunderstorm complexes. That's definitely possible. I want to quickly look at the HRRR model. This one shows very not far out at all, but you may be wondering, then why am I showing you this? Well, the thing is that I just want to give you a quick update on what's to come in the next 18 hours across here, across your area. Notice the west, some scattered thunderstorms, really not too much to go home about. Right now, with the daytime heating, we're seeing some thunderstorms as I'm recording this. By the time, if you're watching this at 10, it'll probably be already mainly dwindled. You can see across the south, we see some thunderstorm complexes. Really not too big. As the night wears on, you can see they kind of evolve more into just rainmakers. Not really, the flood threat kind of remains. Not really the severity of the storms. And notice that the storms that erupted earlier in Minnesota and Iowa move on further into Wisconsin, Illinois throughout the day, throughout the night, and then into the daytime you can see another thunderstorm complex tries erupting across southern Wisconsin. Notice into the southern U.S. it also gets kind of active tomorrow. Some thunderstorms across the Louisiana and Texas coasts. Let's go back to the 18Z model run. This one was quite a while ago, but I just want to show you what could happen tomorrow. You can see tomorrow could be an active day, especially towards the evening. We see an active thunderstorm complex across western New York and into northern Pennsylvania. We see another line, almost a cold front, developing across Illinois and into Missouri with some thunderstorms behind it. So definitely could be a cause for concern. Notice Texas as well into the southeast. So see, like, this map doesn't look as bad as what the GFS is showing. If you were to look at the GFS at this moment, it would be all green. Okay, but that is because the GFS can't predict isolated thunderstorms, and it might as well just put it across the whole map rather than try guessing places, because this is what it's going to look like. If you get under one of these thunderstorms, you're going to get absolutely soaked, but if you're not, then you're going to be dry. So this is kind of the pattern that will be going on, just an active pattern for summer. You just don't get those widespread storms during the summer where we have a huge rain shield. That just doesn't occur that much. During the winter and fall and early spring, that happens more often. So I want to show you now the European model, and I'll be back. So now we're looking at the European model, and you can see that it's showing the rain precipitation map like the GFS, just a little bit different. It's a different website. It's Pivotal Weather, a great website. I highly recommend you should check it out. Notice that we see a couple of storms, one across south of James Bay, one across western Ontario. And if you were to look at this latest motion, notice that we see this thunderstorm complex into tomorrow, some thunderstorms. You can see there's just a lot of activity. This passes through again. The storm kind of really erupts across southern Canada, kind of strengthens itself really into a low pressure, while I guess the cold front kind of delivers quite a bit of enough lift to produce all these scattered thunderstorms, and that pushes off slowly but surely, still drenching parts of the East Coast even into Wednesday and early Thursday. But by the time Thursday comes, we see a new culprit coming, and we see again the European is on par with the GFS. It shows this system across the upper plains, and you can see this one's a little bit stronger, has a little bit of moisture to work with, and it affects. It's a more widespread system possibly. You can see some pretty heavy rainfall amounts, and it looks as if it could be training over the same area. You can see the low pressure across the New York valleys, and as we continue forward into time, notice that we see a big storm across southern Canada start erupting. That would affect lots of British Columbia and into Alberta with lots of rain, and you can see the active pattern continues. We see more thunderstorm flare-ups and I guess more outbreaks. So this is definitely something. It's a time of the year where you just need a little bit of instability, and you can get a lot of thunderstorms. So every time a big system comes through, we see quite a bit of precipitation. So that's definitely something. I also want to point out, look, it's snowing here across the mountains in British Columbia. That's that's not really unusual. It's July, so at this point it's July, June, late June. So it's a bit unusual, but it's, if you're to look at the temperatures, they're not awfully below average. This is the 30-day forecast for July. Notice that the Climate Prediction Center shows much of the country across just warm. It shows parts of the Northwest as below average, and it favors the South being really wet. Not necessarily anywhere else, but again, look at that. It's just showing very nice warmth across much of the United States during July, which I could buy, but I think it's a little bit overdone in my opinion. But it definitely, I guess, they definitely have a rhyme to the reason. They wouldn't just put out a random guess, though sometimes it feels like they do. But if you were to look at the NAM12KM, this is a more higher resolution model than the GFS, not as high as a HER model, but you can see it shows that thunderstorm complex tomorrow erupting across Illinois and into Indiana and into parts of Missouri. You can see Arkansas and into Michigan. So definitely some precipitation that's well deserved, and you can see it starts showing resurgence from that system right there across next week, Friday. So thank you guys so much for watching. Consider liking the video. Consider subscribing to this channel. Hopefully you all enjoyed. And I'll catch you all guys in the next episode. See ya. Bye.